everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome to the Conga Mail Merge Wizardry webinar. This webinar is a part of our ongoing webinar series and is intended to introduce you to key capabilities of Conga Mail Merge to get you off and running. I'm Teresa Bowerly, and I'll be your moderator for this session. Before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping. The entire webinar is slated to last for about 40 minutes, including 5 minutes for Q&A at the end of each section. We have a lot of registrants, so everyone's phones will be on mute. If you do have questions, please submit them online. We may not get to all of your questions, but we'll answer as many as we can during this session. Any questions that we do not get to during the FAQ section, we will post to our knowledge base. The webinar is being recorded, and we'll also make the recording available within a few days on our YouTube channel and in our knowledge base. So let's get started. I'm pleased to introduce Peter Terhune, who will be taking you through this session. Peter is a senior business analyst here at Conga and is looking forward to introducing you to Conga Composer. Peter?
Great. Thank you very much, Teresa. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the call. I'll go ahead and I will be the leader and presenter in today's webinar. And before we get started, I am going to talk a little bit about some of the assumptions that we're going to make. The first assumption is that the predominant audience of this webinar are Salesforce administrators. So we are going to assume that you have some level of comfort as a Salesforce admin within the Salesforce environment using reports and different functionalities within Salesforce. Also, we do have some assumption that you are going to have a familiarity with Conga Mail Merge, but hopefully after today's presentation you'll have much stronger familiarity and comfort level with our application. The topics that we're going to start with today, the first one is creating Conga Mail Merge solutions using reports. So we're going to go through the Mail Merge wizard and incorporate a Salesforce report into our solution. Secondly, we're going to take that solution and tie this to a tool that we call Conga Quick Merge. And with Quick Merge links, it allows you to do a common or frequently repeated mail merge process on a very easy basis by storing a few things in a record and then just clicking launch thereafter. Then finally, we're going to talk about how to build a custom button using Conga Mail Merge, and there's a little trick that we will take you through at the end of the call. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started and jump right into Salesforce, and we'll do some live demoing. The very first thing that we were going to approach is Conga Mail Merge using reports. So once you have installed Conga Composer in the Conga Composer package from the Salesforce App Exchange, Conga Mail Merge is one of the components and one of the tabs included in that package. So up here in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to select Conga Composer, and once this page loads, we will then have the Conga Mail Merge tab listed right here at the top. The very first step, Conga Mail Merge is going to ask, what do we want to generate today? What would we like to create? The first item, I'd like to create a letter, and I want to create the corresponding labels that go with that letter. You'll see here there's an option as well for envelopes. So if you have pre-printed envelopes, that's definitely a possibility as well. The next piece is, what is my search criteria? Where do I want to, or to whom do I want to create these letters for? And you'll notice the radio button option here for reports. This is probably the most frequent and most popular solution for Conga Mail Merge. And you'll see here that I have a Conga Reports window with a report listed. And this is all opportunities with contacts. So let's go take a look at that report. Down here in the lower right-hand corner, you'll notice that there's a View Report link. I've opened up my report, and if I go to Customize, I'm using, in this situation, opportunities with contact roles. And the scope of today's letter that I'm going to be presenting, we're talking about, is contacts with multiple opportunities. Now, this is a very frequent requirement in the nonprofit community for tax purposes, for example, where I might have a contact at the end of the year that I want to send a letter to, and I want to send them a list of all of the opportunities and donations that they made to my organization. So my report type in this solution is going to be opportunities with contact roles. I have selected a handful of opportunity fields: opportunity name, amount, close date, items like that. And the most important of all of these fields, out here to the right, the contact ID. So this is going to define my master object. So just by including this contact ID, I'm going to get all of the contact information, and all of the report information here, such as the opportunities, will be included as a data set called report data. So this contact ID defines my master data set. If you've worked with Conga in the past, that should be a familiar term. So master data is defined by this column, and my report data is being defined by the report fields that I have selected in this report. I'll go ahead and save this. And I'm saving this report, you'll notice here in my properties, in the Conga Reports folder. Now, this report folder is the only folder that Conga Mail Merge will look to. So any solution that you intend to create with Conga Mail Merge, you will need to save those reports in this Conga Reports folder to ensure that they are found and Mail Merge looks for those reports in their appropriate location. All right, looks good. This is the report that I want to work with. You know, you could always do some range things if you wanted to filter it, but for our purposes, I'm not going to worry about that. So returning to Conga Mail Merge, we took a look at the report. I'm content with the report data and the information that I want to work with, so I'll select Next. At this step, Conga Composer, or Conga Mail Merge, is looking at that report and identifying all of the contacts that were in that report. So it notices that there were 19 unique contact IDs, and there were 43 opportunities in that report. So that's going to be a little bit of an interesting output. Why is that? Because I will have 19 letters, but some of those letters might have multiple opportunities. So if you have an organization that's doing recurring donations, you might have 19 contacts, and some of those contacts have monthly donations, and so those detail records could be a much greater number than your master records. All right, going to go ahead and click Next. The next option here is which template or letter template would I like to use. So I'm going to go ahead and use this thank you letter for Mail Merge, and we can take a quick look at the template. I'll just pull that down briefly and talk a little bit about some of the Mail Merge fields. Here's my template. I'm using Microsoft Word merge fields, which we have plenty of different webinars and other additional resources in our support that talks about template creation. But we've built merge fields using our view data set. I have a merge field here for the dates, contact first name, and down here in the body I'm using some hipster ipsum, so do take a look at that if you get an opportunity. Down here in this lower section, I have a table that talks about the report data, or those donation opportunity events that are going to populate. And so this could be that dynamic table that's going to display those multiple opportunities for each contact. Once I've uploaded that template into Salesforce.com and stored that template in the Conga templates folder or object, that template will appear here. So I'm going to select my template, click Next. Next item, which label do I want to use? The Avery 5160 is a pretty standard label, but you'll see that we have a whole variety of additional formats preloaded. The 5160 is a 3x10, very common label size. And so I'll go ahead and leave that. We'll move on to the next step. All right, so at this point, I'm ready to go. I've selected my data set, I've selected my template, I've selected the labels that I'd like to use, and I would like all of those to come out as just one PDF file. So when I click that letters and documents, MailMerge is going to run that report, merge the information with the template, and deliver an output. So this is actually, let's open this up in, can I open, not in the browser, but we want to open this in, oh, come on. I would. Okay, well, I need to adjust my browser settings so it doesn't open in line here, but what I would like to show is that this is the output document, and it will generate a single PDF file that you can download and send off to your printer. But you'll see we've got these merge fields from our template. The information's been completed up here. We have the contact, the company, and the different information for the different opportunities that contact is related to. So we see the 3 different opportunities that fit our report. For that contact, if I go on to this contact, you'll see that I've got 4 different opportunities. For Lars, we only have 2 opportunities. So this is a very, very easy method to generate these output documents. Returning to our final step 7 screen here in Conga MailMerge, I'm content with the letters and documents that I've created via PDF, but I'd also like to print the corresponding labels. So now Composer is taking that same report, merging it to a Avery 5160 template, and creating the corresponding labels. Great. In addition to being able to print the letter and the label, I have the ability to create an activity log against all of my contacts. So first question, would I like to include the body of the letter into that activity? Yeah, I think I will. I can create a subject. So and log activities. Now I've got a little thing that's asking if I want to confirm. Yes. Composer or MailMerge has now logged the activities against those 19 contacts. So that 19 object is confirming them, and we're done. So what we've done is we've created one letter and stepped through that wizard all the way through. But what happens if I have a process that I need to repeat every week, where I want to send off this same letter on a weekly basis for new opportunities? That's where our tool Quick Merge Links comes into play. Quick Merge Links is a free add-on that can be obtained from our support section on the congamerge.com website. So if you go to congamerge.com, select support, and here on the support tab, you'll notice that there's a large button for installations. Under our free products and add-ons section, we have Conga Quick Merge, and it depends on which version of Salesforce.com you have for which install link, but you can click that right here and install this tool directly into your Salesforce instance. Once that's installed, Conga Quick Merge creates a very simple custom object called a Quick Merge link that allows you to store commonly used values inside this record and allows you to skip past all of the wizard steps using this little checkbox and go directly to the final merge process. So your users no longer have to select which template, which report. All of those things are going to be defined for them and will be populated by this launch button. Now, the template ID, let's talk a little bit about this. This value is one of these 15-character Salesforce IDs. It looks somewhat similar to this. How did I get that value? When I uploaded that value, or uploaded my template to the Conga Template Manager, it created a record right here, and this is my thank you letter for Conga Mail Merge. What I will do is simply copy the record ID directly out of the URL. I can go back to my quick merge link and just paste that right in. Same thing goes for this report ID. When I saved my report inside Salesforce.com, my all opportunities with contacts, Salesforce created a report ID for this report. Now I can copy this value back to my quick merge link and paste that in right here. Now a couple of other things that we can do here. I can also define that I want to bypass the wizard, so it will no longer take me through steps 1 through 7. It's just going to recognize that I've decided that this is my template and this is my report, and it's going to go directly to the end. I can set that I would like this to come back as a PDF file, and I can even enable that activity logging that we saw earlier. So and maybe I want to store that letter body against the activity in the comments. And I could even make that a default activity that automatically happens when I perform the merge. We'll leave that empty for now. So I've defined my template. I've defined my data set. I want to skip past all of those earlier steps. So let's see the magic happen. When I click that launch button, it's taken me directly to step 7, and I can simply select letters and documents. And we're performing that same merge that we saw just a moment ago. And here is our output document, just as we saw earlier. Outstanding. I can also create the labels. Again, the 5160s are my default for the org, but I could always define another label template if I would like. And I can log the activity just by clicking this. It's going to do that exact same process that we saw a moment ago, where it will log that activity against those 19 contacts. So quick merge links serve as a very simple launch point for objects or processes that you have to repeat on a common basis. Again, very popular in the nonprofit community for organizations that send out their receipts in batch at the end of the week. So all of the donations that we received this week on Friday afternoon, we could set up a quick merge that's going to retrieve all of the opportunities where the close date equals this week, and it would perform this merge and create a batch of letters that you could mail on a Friday afternoon. So we've kind of reviewed quick merge links. We've talked about using Conga Mail Merge, using a report as your data set. The final Conga Mail Merge trick that we can pull out of our rabbit's hat is to be able to run Conga Mail Merge from a button. Probably the most common requirement around this is for generating campaign letters. Now, I've created a button right here called Create Event Letter. And let's talk about what sits underneath that. Inside the Conga Mail Merge documentation, starting on page 23, it gives you an option of how to launch a mass merge or mail merge process from a custom button, link, or tab. In order to get started, you will start by creating a custom button or link using these 4 lines copied directly out of our documentation. So if I copy that, I can return to Salesforce Setup, select Customize, Campaigns, Buttons, Links, and Actions, and create a new button. And simply paste our button that I copied from the documentation directly into this main window. Now, I've already got one started, so we'll go ahead and take a look, but that's how we can get started from here. Back here on my Buttons, Links, and Actions, I've started a button called Create Event Letter. And you'll notice that I've got those same 3 lines that I copied from the documentation. However, I've added a couple of additional parameters. So anybody who has ever used Conga Composer, this should be a very similar process where you get the idea of creating a button and then adding the parameters to impact the button's behavior. So looking at our documentation, you'll notice that there is a handful of parameters, but this is very, very limited for Conga Mail Merge. Conga Mail Merge has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parameters that can be utilized. The first one is report ID. And as you recall from our quick merge, we could simply use report ID equals and paste in a report ID. We could also use campaign ID. And this is an interesting trick because what this will do will automatically evaluate the campaign members and generate documents for all campaign members on a particular campaign. The template ID, this is the letter template. Label template, if I have a custom label that I would like to utilize, or a custom envelope. And BPW, which means bypass wizard. So BPW equals 1 will bypass that Conga Mail Merge wizard, or BPW equals 0 toggles that off, and will go directly and take you through the 7-step Mail Merge wizard. So very, very limited on the number of parameters that can be utilized. So I've incorporated a handful of these. The first 2 talked about campaign ID equals, and I'm going to use the campaign that I'm working from. And in order to make the dynamic value, I've used this syntax right here. Additionally, ampersand template ID equals. This is my Conga Mail Merge template. Now this particular template's a new one because it's a different purpose. Right? You know, this is a marketing campaign letter. This isn't really a thank you note. So here's a Microsoft Word document. We'll just pull this down briefly. And I've incorporated some images and some additional merge fields and some additional hipster ipsum. So I've grabbed this template ID and added that directly into my button. So by clicking Edit, template ID equals, and then pasting that value in here. Now I'd like these files to come out as a PDF file, so I've just defined that default PDF equals 1, and that's it. There are not much more in the way of parameters that we can use in our button. We can define maybe a custom label or a custom envelope, but beyond this, there is not a whole lot more that we can utilize. So let's go through that process really quickly. We're going to create a button on our object, and in this situation we're using campaigns, so campaigns, buttons, and links. Then we can go to our campaign page layout. And up here in the buttons, I can create my event letter, grab that, drag that right here to my custom links section and save. Okay, let's go to a campaign. So now if I go to my campaigns list here, I've got an active campaign for Dreamforce 2013. And you'll notice after I've modified my page layout, I have this custom button for Create Event Letter. I've also added some attendees. So in my campaign members, I've got quite a few contacts that are part of my campaign that I'm going to market to. And now let's generate those letters. Another popular solution on a side note that I have seen for campaign members is creating badges. So if you have event badges, this is a great solution in order to create those badges. All right, so I'm going to create my letter and my label. And I've defined campaign ID. And so Conga Mail Merge has pre-selected the Campaigns tab and has pre-selected my Dreamforce 2013 because that's the campaign ID that I'm working with. And you'll see that we've got 100 contacts, and in this situation, no leads. But this could definitely be a hybrid of both values. This is a quick sample of the first 20 contacts in that list. I could go ahead and select or unselect several of those contacts, but we'll go ahead and leave that on. And we are now going to select our template, which is our Dreamforce letter. Our label style, we'll stick with those 5160s. And now we've reached the end here. This time you'll notice I selected Microsoft Word. So now we're going to perform that merge process, but the output document will be a Microsoft Word document. We'll turn on our editing and notice that we now have grown from 1 to 100 pages. And so I've got a letter here for the first contact, K. Acevedo. Going on to the next page, Sylvia Acosta. Third page, Gemma. And there we are. So it just continues on. I can also, again, print the corresponding mailing labels and log activities just as we saw earlier. So just by building that button on my campaign, I can create those letters just with a handful of clicks. Now, one of the other parameters that was discussed inside the documentation, and let's go to Setup, was BPW, or Bypass Wizard. So if I go back into my campaigns, buttons, links, and actions, my event letter, edit, I've confirmed that all of these settings are acceptable. This is what I'd like going forward. And I can add this parameter for BPW equals 1, which is Bypass Wizard. Now, in lieu of having to click through all of those steps in my Conga Mail Merge wizard, that BPW parameter is going to bypass that process and jump directly to the end because it knows which template to work with, which data set, which are my campaign members, and which labels to proceed with as well. And here's my output. Another letter for Kay, Sylvia, Gemma, and so on. Well, to be perfectly honest, that about brings us to the end of our presentation today. We've covered our 3 topics. The first one using Conga mail merge and a report as our source data. Secondly, taking that mail merge process and adding those components to a quick merge link so that we can repeat this process on a regular basis. And third, how to create a custom button on an object in Salesforce that will take us directly through a mail merge process as well. Now I'd like to go ahead and open up and answer a couple of questions that were generated during the presentation.
Thanks, Peter. One question is, how many reports can you include in a mail merge?
Conga mail merge is limited to only one report. So we don't have the flexibility that we might have in Conga Composer, where we can incorporate as many as 50 different data sets. Conga mail merge is limited to one data set, so the complexity is not quite as advanced as Conga Composer.
Okay, and then is there a limit to how many letters you can merge?
Yes, there is. We do have a limit of about 5,000, and I say about. It is, in fact, a limit of 5,000 records in which you can generate. The reason is that the output files get quite big and get difficult to pass between Salesforce and your computer. So if you have 50,000 letters, that output file could be several gigabytes, and because of that data size and that file size, we do limit that to 5,000 or up to 40 megabytes.
Okay. And is mail merge, does it cost extra?
Absolutely not. Conga mail merge is an included component of the Conga Composer suite of tools from Conga. So Conga mail merge is included with your Conga Composer subscription and is also included as part of our complimentary 30-day trial.
Okay, and what if I wanted to try to generate mass emails? Is that an option?
Mass emailing is a function of our add-on tool called Conga Conductor. Conga mail merge does not have email functionality included, and yeah, that's about it. Conga mail merge does not have email functionality.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all the questions we have for now. We did want to point out some useful resources available. If you visit our website and go to the support tab, you can find some of these helpful links. We have a link where you can go ahead and register for upcoming webinars. We also have a webinar archive, which holds past recordings of our webinars that we've done. So if you feel like you have more time today and you want to go check those out, we encourage that. You will also have access to the Conga Quick Start tutorial. You can kind of take a quick start to help you get up and running with Conga Composer by using those. You also have access to the Conga template library. So if you need some inspiration on getting started creating a template, we have some templates available for you to work with there. We also have a YouTube channel, which again will host all of our previous webinars that we have recorded. And then finally, you can get access to our documentation as well. It takes you a little bit further than the Conga Quick Start tutorials will. And again, thank you for attending, and be sure to let us know what you think. Also, this webinar that we've done today is a part of our ongoing webinar series. Some of the other webinars that we host are getting started with Conga Composer, creating word templates, Conga Composer and e-signature solutions, adding logic to Conga Composer templates, and many more to come. Each month we try to come up with a creative theme or topic that we'll introduce into the series, so stay tuned for that. Again, thank you for attending, and have a good rest of your day.